How far should your driver go?
And is it your driver that's holding you back?
However, let's not talk about technology.
And well, just some simple facts. So not only do I want to show you how far a ball can go with a driver at 70 miles an hour, 85, 95, all the way up to 120, but as we go through this video, I want you to see how the narrative changes, because believe it or not, there is something as too much distance, and that'll make a lot more sense later.
Now we're solely going to be focusing on carry distance through this video,
because total distance is made up more of ground conditions, downhill, uphill, dry, wet, you name it. So before we go into the speed testing, I want to simply explain the 3 pieces of data that makes up carry distance, and then how you guys can therefore improve your carry distance even if you don't want a new driver. So up first we have launch angle, the angle in which the trajectory the ball starts. Today we're going to be aiming for around 12 to 14 degrees, but it's quite obvious why too low a launch angle or too high of a launch angle can make a bit of a difference.
Now loft, shaft, angular attack, hand position at impact.
To name a few can all affect your launch angle, but I promise you by the end of this video, it'll seem a lot more simpler.
The second one is ball speed.
How fast that ball is traveling off the driver face.
The speed in which the head is actually traveling plays a big
part in how much ball speed you're going to be able to create.
But so does the point of the face that you typically hit out of, as well as club path, will directly influence how much efficiency you can get into that ball speed if the head is traveling at the same speed. And that's what makes up efficiency, the amount of ball speed you got from the amount of club head speed you actually delivered.
Which brings us on to our third component. You don't want to know how many tries that took. Which of course is spin, and thanks to Vice Golf for sponsoring today's video.
And even though golf balls don't play that as much a part in driver distance as they do in the rest of our game,
I want to simply explain at certain club head speeds why you might be better off with something more affordable opposed to potentially something a bit more premium. So before I show you this beauty outperform this, Vice Golf have some great deals running all the way through December, and if you use my link in the description down below, you'll get an extra $5 off on top of some of those deals through their website. Now there's many factors that affect spin, however the one that you need to be aware of, especially throughout this video, is that as long as all the conditions are the same, i.e. I'm going to swing these clubs very similar to each other, however the ball speed is going to change, notice what it does to my backspin. For example, let's take this 14-degree ping G5 driver with a ladies flex shaft and swing it at a speed that it shouldn't be swung at.
with the sole reason of showing you throughout this video there's no such thing as a bad driver, just potentially a wrong combination
For the wrong golfer.
With it being swung at 107 miles an hour, still being hit up through, still with a slight into-out path, we got so much backspin because this shaft and loft combination increased my launch too much, adding dynamic loft, creating, well, too much spin.
But there's a fine line of backspin in this game, and obviously the roles would be reversed in a minute, but let's swing this club with the same kind of impact factors at the same speed and see how much more distance that we get.
106 miles an hour, 1 mile an hour slower than the ping. But because the spin was optimal, almost 35 yards more in distance. As we can see, similar club path, we can see similar angle attack, less club head speed, but more ball speed. Launch angle was lower, spin much lower, close to too low. But there's no question this loft and shaft combination had a direct result in our carry and in our distance because it had just enough ball speed to stay in the air long enough.
But what happens if I can only swing this driver at 70 miles an hour?
All of a sudden, I need this light shaft. I need that extra loft on the head to even get the ball airborne. And because I won't create as much ball speed, 73.1. All of a sudden, our goal of 2,200 to 2,500 backspin has been achieved. Not to mention our launch angle is now appropriate. Funnily enough, our efficiency's just got better at this speed, and I didn't even quite catch that out the middle.
Because just like I explained with club path affecting efficiency and glancing the ball, so does dynamic loft. And if that face is pointing up to the sky like it was at 105 miles an hour, it will produce less ball speed, less efficiency if it was actually appropriately lofted.
Now, before we move on to 85 miles an hour, I think it's only fair. 74 miles an hour.
That we give the ping its revenge.
Because all of a sudden this 9-degree stiff flex driver has launched the ball too low. We haven't got enough ball speed with these impact factors to get anywhere near 2,000 backspin, hence why the thing's just fallen out the sky.
A higher launching ball like the Pro Air makes sense at this kind of speed, but more importantly, you're not going to lose many golf balls at this speed either. Therefore, having a premium urethane cover that you're going to use a lot with that third shot into the green from 40, 50 yards kind of makes sense to me. Ironically, the faster we get, the more affordable options I'm going to recommend to a lot of you guys just starting the game.
So let's jump to 85 miles an hour and give you guys some ideas of what equipment you're going to need at this kind of speed. I've chosen the Rogue because it's around 100 pounds. It's forgiving, it has the weight at the back there, and also it's adjustable.
Because yes, I'm going to give you recommendations. However, I'd like there to be a bit of wiggle room. Some of you might need this lofted up to 12 degrees. Some of you might need it lofted down to 9. But I want to prove to you guys over the next 2 rounds that you potentially are overthinking your equipment, as I want to keep this same setup and show that it can be used at different speeds. And then when is it time to actually make alterations?
Oh, be the one. 86.8. Can we count that? Bit fast. Oh, it's pretty much on the money.
Now, I remember watching half a year ago Matt from Golf Liberty doing something similar in terms of club head speeds, and he said a number of 2.4 times your club head speed is what you should be able to get carry distance if everything is perfect. And around the 85 mile an hour mark, I think that number is pretty much spot on. So make sure to go and check his channel out, as he has some really good information on there.
However, anything below 80 miles an hour, I think you're looking more closer just to. I can't see someone getting 170 yards from the 72 miles an hour that I was producing earlier. However, when we get to the mid 80s, I think it's very much true. We got just under that 2.4 yards carry distance because our spin was actually a touch low. Hence why I'd probably loft this up if someone was swinging as consistently as I was here.
So let's jump up to 95 miles an hour, where we should see more ball speed, therefore more backspin, as long as all my other impact factors stay the same. And actually this driver might want to fight me a bit. It might want to go to the left-hand side. Hence a shaft change could be favourable, but don't think just because you swing at 95 miles an hour, you need a stiff flex.
Again, still using the Vice Tour for this speed to prove that even a more affordable golf ball can still give you the maximum distance off the tee. If anything, these things want to go further. Oh, that felt money. Why am I always 2 miles an hour faster? I'm sorry, I can't hit better than that. Similar angular attack, similar club path. There's our golden 2,200. Enough of a launch angle for it to stay in the air. 234 yards.
Which if I times by that 2.4, pretty much is the nail on the head with this standard 10.5 degree regular flex driver.
And the reason I'm showing you this is that too many of you overthink your equipment. It's achievable. Am I saying a 10.5 reg flex driver is going to be perfect for you? No. Can it, with a sound technique, achieve the maximum possible carry distance that's legally allowed in our game, both at 87 and 97 miles an hour? Well, indeed it can.
At 85 miles an hour, I highly recommend just a regular flex shaft. If you're in that 95 area and they tend to go left consistently, then yes, of course, get a stiffer flex. It'll stop it going as left. It will stop that club face closing on the way down. It'll keep it more open. However, if you find this driver for 70, 60 pounds on Facebook and it's absolute steal, but it's got a regular flex and you think you need a stiff, just buy it, test it, try it. It won't make all that much difference depending on what skill level you're at.
However, that last drive there just unlocked something that I like to refer to as the golden yardage, especially when we jump up into the 105 mile an hour bracket. If you have the ability to hit your driver 250 yards, like I just did there with the Rogue, you can virtually play off any handicap at your local golf club. I'm not being funny, I know countless veterans that play this game that only had 220 yards off the tee and played off 2 because their consistency and dispersion was so tight and their short game was immaculate. My point is, as we go forward, you'll see the narrative change. As we get faster, the reward gets less and the risk becomes higher, which pretty much sums up my career. And if you ever play golf with me, you'll know how much I hit a driving iron around a golf club because it just does more than enough. So as we go forward, I'm going to use the Pro Plus. It actually launches lower, spins more, because as I swing faster, I want less of the elements to affect my ball flight. Not to mention we're using the 9-degree stiff flex stealth that I used earlier. 109. Are we counting that? Again, that's really good. That's almost going to be 300 yards. Oh, it is 300 yards. There we have it, 109 miles an hour, can definitely reach 300 yards, almost 285 yards carry. Which is actually a bit above Matt's number 2.4, but I remember him saying that some people say it's higher and it comes down to launch monitors. It's a good guide. As I go into the 150 miles an hour, and it make a lot more sense. Yes, 9 degrees could work. Yes, a low spin head could work. Yes, a stiff flex could work. Potentially an X-Stiff could as well. But please take my word for it. If you have this in the locker and you're still a mid-handicap golfer, you haven't got that golden yardage piece of equipment, whether it's a 3-wood, a 5-wood, a driving iron, whatever it might be. And as someone that spent 15 years trying to perfect this thing with multiple shafts, multiple combinations, having something in the bag that you can fall upon and get you down the middle, ironically makes this thing go a lot straighter. Obviously I use the Pro Plus for that shot, but trust me, if you're 105 miles an hour and you're 18 handicapper or potentially lower, just use a 3-piece ball. Don't waste money shelling balls all over the place, as I know how hard it is to control that club face at that particular speed, and it's just going to ruin your round. So let's go 150 miles an hour, and congratulations if you're at this speed. However, something that I learned and I want to ask you is, how are you actually creating it? And I know this all too well because this was me. For the longest time, I thought I was just as fast as every tour player in the world because I had the ability to swing at the head fast and somewhat connect with the golf ball. But that poor technique that gives me the more speed, your 125, your 130, the impact factors that we keep talking about so much are awful. Hence why I didn't go any further than the 10 mile an hour or even 40 miles an hour I just produced a minute ago. Because when it comes to equipment advice, I haven't really got a recommendation. Obviously, don't use a 14-degree light flex driver, but a 10.5-degree stiff that's adjustable, fine. A 9-degree X stiff, if you like the weight of it, perfect. However, what makes the Tour Pros so exceptional is that they can swing at 120 miles an hour without losing width at the top, cupping their wrist, overplaying, yanking down on this shaft, jumping out of their skin. And don't get me wrong, your 115 or 120 mile an hour swing on the driving range with your mates, when the stars align, obviously too fast for it. If the stars aligned, of course you're going to get that absolute raking draw, whatever it is, that goes 340 yards, and you go, look at me. However, if you were like me and you had 4 out-of-bound tee shots per round, and to be honest, a wedge game that could never take advantage of a 320-yard drive, and you leave that 60-yard pitch shot 25 foot short of the hole anyway, stop worrying about the shaft. Stop worrying about the head design. Neither of those are going to help. Your club face rotation, when you do all of this, more than likely, just like I used to, comes down here, stuck on the inside, just requires too much flipping. You're never going to time that well over 5 hours playing 18 holes. But it's good news. Lean back on your power source like I have. I've tried to keep and maintain my width, trying definitely in the future, keeping my club a lot more on plane. That was always going to happen, wasn't it?
So you have less destructive bad shots. 340 yards isn't as much of a benefit as you think it is, opposed to a consistent 290, a consistent 280.
That being said, what would I expect from 115 miles an hour? 117. Still got my hooky draw, that's good to see, isn't it? 300 yards carry is definitely achievable.
But don't make it your personality if you want to be good at this game. Trust me, I know from experience. Guys, if you've got any questions on your golf bag or golf game, sasgolfacademy.com. Catch you guys later.